Hello, everyone, and welcome to It All Starts With a Wish podcast. My name is Rachel. Nah, I'm just kidding. My name is Mark. But we're here on the 7-day mark before our Walt Disney World trip. So, we tried doing this for our dining reservations, and it failed. We are now going to try to do this for our Lightning Lane reservations. So before we jump into this, a few important reminders. So I am doing this live. If I can't just cut out like the background noises that happen, and the furnace may turn on because it's still winter and you may hear the furnace on. I can't cut any of that out because, it's a actual experience. So you're going to get some background noises. You may hear Rachel coming in and out, or our son running by at some point as Rachel tries to get him ready for the day. So that stuff you're just going to have to deal with, and we will push forward. A few important reminders about booking Lightning Lanes. Always, the night before, you're going to want to log in and make sure that all of your tickets are properly connected to an account. I cannot stress this enough. We actually checked this last night, and I noticed that for myself, for example, and Rachel and my parents, we all had a thing that said eligible to select the Lightning Lanes on the date and at 7 a.m. That's what you want to see. That means that all your tickets are linked properly, that you're ready to go at 7 a.m. of the day when it says. I noticed that Rachel's parents and her sister did not have that, and that immediately was a red flag for me. So once I saw that, went in and checked, we had not linked their tickets on their My Disney Experience account yet. Had purchased the tickets, but had not linked it. If I had figured that out at 7 a.m. today, that would have been a huge mess, and that would have made this process much more difficult, and I would have lost valuable time. So always, cannot stress that enough. Check the night before to make sure that you linked everything appropriately. That way, if you need to call Disney to figure something out, or something is wrong, or whatever, you can deal with that the night before, and you're not dealing with that at 7 a.m. the day of. Other important tips. I like to just write out all of my selections on a new fresh sheet of paper. We have a sheet of paper where we've been kind of keeping track of our schedule and our plans, but I just took out a fresh sheet of paper, wrote down all of just the Lightning Lanes. That way I can easily see, okay, this day I need this day I need that. It's all just written out, ready to go. Log into My Disney Experience too before 7 a.m. Get into your account, make sure you can log in, make sure you haven't forgotten your password, all of that stuff. Give it at least 15 minutes. Get logged in nice and early, so that way you can jump right into actually selecting your Lightning Lanes. So all of that, I think, is important things to keep in mind when you're getting ready to select the Lightning Lanes. Oh, and most obviously, right, make sure that you're not just deciding what Lightning Lanes you want the morning of, right? Make sure you've thought that out. You have made your selections, and then you're just looking for the things that you really want. So that is the game plan. We'll see how all this works. To remind you, on the first day, we're only getting a single-use Lightning Lane for Guardians of the Galaxy at some point in the afternoon. On our second day of our stay, we're getting Hollywood Studios Multi-Pass. So that one will be selecting our 3 rides at Hollywood Studios for that. On our third day, we'll be getting a Magic Kingdom Multi-Pass, and we're going to be shooting for time slots in the afternoon, which is usually not what I suggest. I usually suggest do it in the morning. But we're going to Animal Kingdom in that morning for an early morning breakfast. And to get multi-pass for Animal Kingdom that day just doesn't seem like a good use of the multi-pass. Even though I could use it at Magic Kingdom, I think a lot of those good rides are going to be gone by the afternoon. So we're going to shoot for the afternoon, see if we can grab some multi-passes in that afternoon. On the 5th day of our stay, we're going to grab a Rise of the Resistance in the early afternoon. On the 6th day of our stay, we're going to grab a Magic Kingdom Multi-Pass. And maybe, just maybe, on the 8th day of our stay, we're going to grab one more Guardians of the Galaxy single-use lane pass. Also worth pointing out, we're going to shoot for getting a Tron multi-pass too. A single pass, a Tron single pass on the 3rd day of our stay as well, when we have the multi-pass at Magic Kingdom. So we'll see how all this works. A lot of this is luck of the draw and making sure that you're on time. And I think another important point here to be made is that this is the clear advantage to staying in a Walt Disney World Resort hotel, right? You're able to do this 7 days out, whereas everybody else can't do this until 3 days out. And from talking to people who have not stayed in a Walt Disney World Resort and have run into this issue, that has been a problem. Because at 3 days out, a lot of the most sought after Lightning Lane selections are not available. So keep that in mind. But with that being said, I think we're ready. We're going to sit here. We have a few minutes now before 7 o'clock hits. I'm going to take a sip of my coffee here. I hate it when people slurp, so I don't know why I just did that for all of you. But anyways, we'll hang out here for a few minutes, and then we will jump right into it. Oh, other important things to keep in mind. You're going to want to make sure that you have the credit card that you're going to put these purchases on handy. And also just make sure that your devices, whatever device you're choosing to use, whether it's your laptop or your computer or your cell phone, I guess the computer doesn't really matter because it's always plugged in, but your laptop or your cell phone or your tablet, whatever device you're going to use is fully charged, right? Nothing worse than in the middle of this having to run to find a charger in order to charge your devices. So make sure you charge up your devices the night before. Okay. We have 1 minute. All logged in, all ready. Again, I apologize if there's any background noises, but we're going to have to deal with it because it's live. We're doing it live.
Do it live.
Oh, there's Rachel. Hi, honey. Good morning.
Good morning.
Whoop, 7 a.m. Here we go. So once you hit 7 a.m., you're going to want to swipe down on your My Disney experience so that way it updates, that way it recognizes that it's 7 a.m. That's refreshing, basically. So we're going to go in. I hit Lightning Lane single use because that's the first one that we're looking for. We're looking for a single use on our first day. So we want to select that. Then a new screen will pop up. It'll say select a park. We want Epcot. And we want a single use pass for Guardians of the Galaxy. So I'm going to click next to that. A nice little green check mark will pop up. I click continue. Then we're going to select, okay, who's included. You're going to get a list of all the eligible participants. Yourself will pop up already checked off at the top. So perfect. I got one for me. I'm going to check Rachel's mom. I'm going to check my father. I'm going to check Rachel. I'm going to check Rachel's sister. And I'm going to check Rachel's dad. Okay, subtotal of $114 for that, so I'm going to hit continue. Then I'm going to get to select the time, so it's going to pop up with, hey, this is a suggested time for you. It's suggesting 1:15 to 2:15, which honestly is not horrible, but I'm going to see if we can bump that back maybe by like an hour. So I'm going to click on the modify time. That'll pop up with select an hour. I'm going to click, they're giving me 2:20 as an option, and I feel like that's a good option. So I'm going to click 2:20, save new time, down to the bottom, continue. Once that happens, it's going to load your payment. It is whatever payment you have hooked up here. So again, make sure that you have the payment that you want to use hooked up here. It's going to give you the subtotal, 114 plus the sales tax of 744, which gives us a total of 121.44 for all those people. I'm going to click purchase, and voila, we now have that Lightning Lane. So perfect. Now once that pops up, you're going to see purchase for another day, and if you're going to purchase for another day, right, that is what you want to select. So I'm going to click purchase for another day. We're going to come back to the screen that gives me the calendar. Our second day, we want a multi-pass for Hollywood Studios. So I'm going to click 3. I'm going to pick that date. Then I'm going to select the park, Disney's Hollywood Studios, and I want the Lightning Lane multi-pass for Disney's Hollywood Studios. Scroll down, click continue. Who's included? In this circumstance, everybody who's eligible on my screen is included. So I'm just going to click the select all at the top. So that's going to be a total there. Now we need to select, okay, which rides do we want? And again, it's split into 2 tiers. First tier is Runaway Railway, Smuggler's Run, Rock and Roller Coaster, and Slinky Dog Dash. I am going to select Slinky Dog because that's probably going to be the one that's toughest for us to get on in that first tier. And then I'm going to do Twilight Zone and Toy Story Mania. Again, that's really for more of the adults, but let's see what times they give us. Okay, so they're wanting to push us to the afternoon, but I don't want that. So we're going to see if we can get pushed to earlier in the day. And it looks like it's booked up for earlier in the day already. So this is why you got to be quick. So that may switch our logistics here. I may want to push this now to later in the week and not make this selection because it looks like people have already taken up a lot of the good choices in the morning. So I'm going to put that one on hold. I'm going to click the back arrow. I want to go back, and we're going to select a multi-pass for another day. So let's go to the third day that we're there, which is the Friday. We'll click that day. This day we want a Magic Kingdom pass, and we want it in the afternoon, so that's more advantageous for us in this circumstance. I want everybody to be eligible, so I'm going to click select all. Then I'm going to click continue. On this day, we're going to shoot for Space Mountain, Buzz Lightyear, and Winnie the Pooh. Okay, continue. So it's giving me options in the morning, but again, remember I said I wanted to push these to the afternoon that day. So let's take a look. 1:20 may be a little too early. So let's see if we can push Space Mountain back to 2:20. And then let's modify this one to later in the day. Let's see, Winnie the Pooh will do 3:20, save time. And then Buzz Lightyear, let's see if we can do maybe that one. Will they let me do 1:35? Cool. Okay. Click continue. And purchase. Okay. We got that one purchased for another day. Now we're going to shoot for some Hollywood Studios on our 5th day there. And this one I may try to do the multi-pass too. Let's see. Slinky, Tower of Terror, and Toy Story Mania. Let's see if we can get these in the early afternoon. So let's try for like 1 there. Slinky, let's push it back to like 2. Toy Story Mania, let's say around 3. And Twilight Zone, let's say around 4. What time is our Via Napoli reservation? 4, maybe pushing it there. Let's say around 12. And that should give us plenty of time to get on over to Epcot. I'm undecided whether or not I really want to get a Rise of the Resistance single-use pass there. I don't know if that's making it a little too crazy. Maybe we're pushing it on time in there. Well, maybe we'll do that. That seems a little better. Okay, purchase for another day. So we're going to jump back in, and now we want to purchase for our 6th day. We want a Magic Kingdom one that day. $37 per person that day. I want to select, now Rachel's parents are no longer going to be with us, so it'll just be us, Peter Pan, Winnie the Pooh, and Pirates. Continue. See what times we get. We want these to be a little bit later in the day, but not super late. Let's see, can we go earlier than that? We can. Let's try like 11:20 for that one. 12:05 works. Let's see if we can push this one up a little bit. We can. So let's go 1:05. Cool. Continue. Purchase. Okay. Now, let's go back. And I want to see, what did I pick on that first day? Do we want that Guardians reservation for that last day again? Will I want to ride it? Probably. Is it worth it? That is the question. Well, first, before we decide that, let's go back, because I do think I want to edit something. So we want to go back to our first Magic Kingdom selection day. Do think I want to modify that to make that Haunted Mansion if I can. Afternoon time slots, right? So let's see if we can push this back a little bit. Little bit. Well, maybe 4. Okay, so all I'm doing is I'm pushing back all of our start times. Just because our son may be taking a nap, so kind of want to lean towards later in the day rather than earlier in the day. Okay, I like that better. Great. I don't think I'm going to get the Guardians on the last day. I just don't think that purchase is worth it, frankly. Okay. Well, I think that does it. I'm going to go ahead and sign off for now, and then we'll come back later. It'll seem like it's instantaneous for all of you, of course, thanks to the magic of editing. But we'll come back later with Rachel, and we'll do a post-mortem, so to speak. We'll see how we did and see what we think, and if we want to change anything. Hey, everyone. So just me again this time. Rachel is packing, and she went to put our son to sleep, and he fell asleep, so we never really got to do a proper assessment of how our Lightning Lane selections went. But I'm going to give you a quick rundown of what is our plan, what do we have on the schedule, on what I was able to successfully purchase. I will say buying Lightning Lanes for a party of 8 people is very expensive. So just be aware of that it is a pretty substantial chunk of money that you're going to pay. And we did not buy it for every day. We just picked select days, as we already kind of talked about. But just be aware, it can be expensive to purchase even just the multi-pass. And it's even more expensive at the parks that you actually would want these at, right? Magic Kingdom is the most expensive park, and it was costing us like $38 a person to get the multi-pass for when we were going. So just be aware of that, budget that, be prepared that it is a substantial chunk of change, especially if you're traveling with a fairly large party. So, just a recap of what we did get. So, on our first day there, we are going to Magic Kingdom in the morning, and then we're going to Epcot in the afternoon. So, we were able to secure a Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind Lightning Lane single pass for 2:20 to 3:20 in the afternoon. And I was able to pick that time pretty easily. No real problems. That's kind of what I wanted. So I was happy with that selection. The second day of our stay, we are not getting any Lightning Lanes. So that will be a Lightning Lane-less day. So we're going to Hollywood Studios in the morning, and then we're planning on going to Animal Kingdom at night. So I really was not able to get any... We were going to get a multi-pass that day, right? Our original plan was, let's get the multi-pass for Hollywood Studios that day in the morning. But because it's towards the beginning of our trip, there were really no good times for any of the rides that I wanted on that day in the morning. They were all in the afternoon. And so the beauty of this system is you can go in and see, hey, this is what's available, this is what's not available. And even though I was doing it at 7 days out, there was not much available in the morning when I wanted it. So I just decided, hey, we'll go at it. We'll go hit the park pretty early, and we'll just see how that morning goes. We do have a Roundup Rodeo barbecue lunch there. And then we'll have a pretty chill afternoon, I think, at Animal Kingdom. Friday. The third day of our stay, I secured Lightning Lanes for Magic Kingdom. So we bought the multi-pass for Magic Kingdom, and we were able to get a Buzz Lightyear Lightning Lane for 3 o'clock, a Haunted Mansion for 4 o'clock, and then a Space Mountain for 5:10. After I did this, I kind of regretted it. I thought back and I was like, ooh, I probably, instead of Space Mountain, should have got Tiana's Bayou Adventure. So we'll see how that plays out and whether or not that comes back to bite me in the butt. But maybe I'll take a look when we get closer to that day. Maybe some Tiana's will come available too. We'll try to shoot for a Tiana's Lightning Lane in the afternoon that day too, because I do think that may have been a mistake on my part for doing Space Mountain instead of Tiana's. I just didn't even think of it. We haven't been on Tiana's yet, and it just didn't go through my head. And I had not wrote down specifically that I wanted Tiana's, which I should have done. So we'll see how that goes anyways. But for right now, we have Haunted Mansion, Buzz Lightyear, and the Space Mountain Lightning Lanes for the afternoon that day. I did want to get afternoon Lightning Lanes. Usually not the best use of Lightning Lanes, because once you scan in at your first ride, you can continue to get more if they're available. But we knew we were going to Animal Kingdom in the morning for a character dining breakfast, so going to Magic Kingdom at night can lead to long lines and difficulty. So that's kind of why strategically I wanted to get afternoon fast passes, and hopefully that's after our son's nap, so we should be able to get to Buzz Lightyear in plenty of time. But we'll see how that goes. On the fourth day of our stay, we're not going to the parks, so no Lightning Lanes needed that day. For the fifth day of our stay, I secured Lightning Lanes for Hollywood Studios. We're going to go to Epcot in the morning. No Epcot Lightning Lanes, but I got multi-passes for Hollywood Studios starting at 1 o'clock. So we have Twilight Zone Tower of Terror at 1 o'clock. We also, at the same time period, have a Star Wars Rise of the Resistance from 105 to 205. So I'm thinking we go in, we get on Twilight Zone Tower of Terror, and then we head on over to Rise of the Resistance. From there, it should be pretty easy to get over to Slinky Dog Dash for a Lightning Lane reservation at 2, and then starting at 2:45, a Lightning Lane at Toy Story. Now, where it gets a little hairy here is that Rachel's family wanted to do Via Napoli that day, and I got a reservation at 5:30 at Via Napoli. So we may be cutting it a little close to get on over there. Hopefully it won't be an issue if we can get right on Toy Story Mania at 2:45. That should leave us well over an hour and a half or so to get between Hollywood Studios and Epcot, but we have run into something similar to that before, and I was having bad flashbacks of a time when we were kind of late for a Via Napoli reservation because we had timed things not right. So we'll keep an eye on that, and hopefully that won't be an issue. On the sixth day of our stay, Rachel's parents will be leaving us, but we are going to Topolino's for a later breakfast at 8:40 a.m. And then those of us who are staying, Rachel, our son, myself, my parents, are going to head over to Magic Kingdom after that. And we have I secured Lightning Lane multipass that day for us. So we'll be doing Peter Pan's Flight at 11:20 to 12:20, The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh from 12:05 to 1:05, and Pirates from 1:05 to 2:05. And then we'll see where the day takes us from there. And then I secured one more Lightning Lane, just a single pass, for the last day of our stay for Guardians of the Galaxy in the morning at Epcot. Just because that ride's so cool, we may want to ride it twice, and I don't think I want to stand in a standby line to do so. So I snagged a Lightning Lane single pass for that as well. But that pretty much sums up. So we're not using it every day, and there were a few notable mistakes that I made, including the fact that I failed to get a Tron single pass. I took a look, and there is some availability still for a Tron single pass during our stay. So I am going to talk with folks tomorrow and see if they want me to secure that. I was supposed to do that, and I failed to do that. That was one of the ones that slipped through the cracks. Again, why you need a good list. Even myself can make mistakes and leave things off the list. So make sure you're keeping a good list for yourself and checking it twice to make sure that you're getting all of those Lightning Lanes that you want to get. With that being said, we are very excited. We're getting hit with those waves of Disney. We're just a few days away. And boy, oh boy, we're in the midst of the final packing shenanigans that come with that, and getting everything ready and raring to go. But we're just very excited to be going. We cannot wait. And of course, we will be coming to you with tons and tons of updates on everything that we see and experience and do over this trip. Trip recaps of restaurant reviews, and a review of the Flower and Garden Festival, and how things went now with a 2.5-year-old versus when we went last time with an 11-month-old, and all of that and more coming your way. So there'll be a ton of content when we return from our trip, but there will not be an episode next Monday, so be aware of that. We are going to go on vacation, and we're going to enjoy ourselves. So there will not be an episode next Monday, as there usually is, but we will be back at it again with trip recaps and all that the following Monday. So, folks, as always, we want to encourage you to follow us on our social media accounts. Send us an email if you got any questions or comments. It starts with a wish.podcast@gmail.com. Remember, it all starts with a wish. We'll see you real soon. And since Rachel is not here for this episode, I will say her bye.